I can sleep through so many things. Kids running and playing? I can still nap. As a matter of fact, one time we had a tornado warning and the safe place for our apartment building was downstairs under the stairs. My oldest son wasn't even a year old and I had just gotten him to bed. I did not want to wake him up by pulling him out of the crib and go downstairs to hide under the stairs for a tornado that may or may not happen. And besides that, I was really tired. Like new mom tired, like I was tired. And so we made a judgment call and I said a little prayer and just went to bed. The next morning, we realized that our apartment building was in the path of that tornado. We looked out the window and we could see that the carports that were over some of the cars had tipped over onto the cars. Thankfully, we didn't park under the carport, so we didn't have to worry about that. And when we went outside, we also realized that some of the roof was missing from the opposite end of our building. Yeah, so it might not have been the smartest choice ever, but I still had a wonderful night of sleep despite the storm raging around us. The point is, I'm not necessarily a super light sleeper. But there are a few sounds that drive me crazy and make it very difficult for me to sleep. Like, for instance, the low battery beep on a smoke alarm. Like really, I have spent my whole life training my body to listen and wake up to the beep of an alarm. Of course the low battery beep on a smoke alarm is going to bother me when I'm sleeping. Another thing that makes it very hard for me to sleep is the sound of the toilet cycling because it won't stop running. Like one flush, that's like one thing. But like the flush sound over and over and over every couple of minutes all night long and that dripping sound of water, yeah, no. My brain tunes into that and it doesn't like it. So that's very hard for me to sleep through. The toilet cycling over and over again can happen for several reasons, and oftentimes it's only simply because the stars aligned correctly. It has really nothing to do with anything other than just like a fluke. Sometimes you need to do a simple and easy DIY toilet flusher replacement kit. But what about those times when you do not have a kit? And it is the middle of the night. So all the stores are closed, but even if you did have a kit, it's the middle of the night and you just want to go to sleep. You just want it to stop flushing so that you can go to sleep. We're going to talk about some ways to fix that quick and easy in the middle of the night so you can get some shut-eye. Hey, I'm Amy on A Lolly Life, and I hope you're having a day that is as super fabulous as you are, because you are super fabulous. You make a difference. When you're kind and patient with those around you, even when they don't necessarily deserve your patience. After all, I'm pretty sure that there are times that we appreciate other people's patience. Well, at least we should appreciate other people's patience when we don't necessarily deserve it. The first thing I would try in the middle of the night, if the toilet wouldn't quit cycling, is I would try jiggling the handle and maybe just giving it a little flush, because sometimes that's all it takes to get it to stop cycling. And I'll explain why in a moment. So, the first thing that I would try is just giving another flush. The second thing to try is to carefully take the lid off of the back of the toilet. Now you want to put this lid somewhere where it's not going to get knocked off or broken. I think that the rug on the floor of the bathroom is usually a pretty good safe place to put it. Bad idea. Because just the chances of it getting knocked on the floor are just too great. Once you get the lid off, you can peek inside, and often it's pretty obvious why the toilet is running. Most of the time, the reason that the toilet continues to go is because there's something blocking or causing this not to be all the way closed, this little rubber seal. A lot of times, this chain, people won't take the end off this chain, and so then they have extra chain, which I happen to have a little extra chain, and it hangs down. So then when you flush, sometimes that chain gets pulled in like this. And it takes a long time to fill if it ever does stop filling. But you can see how the chain is in the way, keeping it from closing all the way. So sometimes if you were to jiggle the handle, a lot of times you can get it to pull out the chain. Obviously it's this chain, not like my chain, but it'll knock that chain out, and then you don't have a problem. At least until next time that somebody flushes. If the chain is too long, sometimes you can wind it around something at the very top or break off part of it so that it doesn't get caught in there again. And ta-da, the problem is fixed and taken care of. Another reason that sometimes the water leaks is because this rubber flapper is distorted or got brittle, and if you put bleach back here or other things like that, a lot of times it will destroy the rubber on this flapper sooner. I mean, eventually they all kind of go the way of the world, but if that rubber flapper is somehow warped or curled or something like that, then, well, the water will leak. This is the float. When it reaches that high, then it turns the water off. So if you were to push it down, it would just keep filling up. If this float, you can set the height of this float. If that height of the float is taller than this, right now you can see that the water level obviously doesn't reach to the top of this. But if it were to reach to the top of this, then it would keep it from overflowing the top of the tank by going into here, and so then the toilet would just keep running because the water would continually be going into there. And so if the float wasn't correct, you can see that the water will just keep going, and eventually it just rolls over the top and just keeps going to there. If the rubber flapper is warped or curled in some way, or you can't readjust the chain or whatever so that you can't make it so that the toilet won't stop running, there is a failsafe built into the toilet for those middle of the night moments when your toilet suddenly decides that it needs some attention. That's the third thing that you can try, and it is guaranteed to work. Guaranteed. Turn the water off to the toilet. Behind the toilet, by the wall, there is a little curly, flexible pipe with a crank that provides your toilet with water. You can turn that off, and it will turn the water off to your toilet without turning water off to the entire rest of the house. It just makes it so your toilet isn't like making weird noises all night, and you can actually get some sleep. You simply turn the crank all the way right. Then, when you flush, there's no more water. It doesn't fill up with water because the water is turned off to the toilet. The newer cranks, you only have to turn it like a quarter of a turn, but this one's an older one, and so you have to turn it more. And you just basically turn it right until it doesn't turn anymore. And when you want it to turn back on, you turn it all the way back around left. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Again, the newer fixtures only take about a quarter turn, and so it doesn't take very much to turn it off and turn it back on. Then you can wash your hands of the problem and get some much-needed sleep. However, it is important to fix the toilet if you're having that problem, because it's not a good idea to turn the water off and on at the wall, at the little crank down there, every time that you need to use the toilet. That's just asking for trouble. It's probably going to cause something to break. They're not made to be turned off and on every time you use the toilet. So, when it's not the middle of the night, you can head to your local home improvement store and purchase a toilet replacement kit. Well, not a toilet replacement kit, but a toilet handle and like flusher replacement kit. It's a pretty simple repair. You can look up a YouTube video if you need some help to like figure out how to do it. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll make a YouTube video on that, because it really isn't hard if you have someone show you how. There are so many things in life that feel scary, but really aren't that hard if you have somebody to show you how and answer your embarrassing questions. That's what we do here on A Lolly Life. I want you to know that you are valued and important, even when you have silly questions about things that other people seem to just understand and get without any help. Believe it or not, everybody has silly questions about things, even if they pretend like they don't. They do. I love you and I believe in you. Be good to those around you and drive safe. And I'll see you on the next episode of A Lolly Life.